Are all of the Real Housewives of Atlanta being fired and the show being rebooted? Yeah, that's what the streets are saying, allegedly. And you better believe we gonna talk about it. Okay, welcome back to Damien After Dark. If you're new here and you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, click that subscribe button right below this video and turn on your post notifications so you never miss a beat. Next, if you don't mind, I would appreciate the support. Your support means the world to me and keeps this channel growing. All you got to do is click that thumbs up button right below this video, and that's your way of supporting. It's free to do. Now, if you want to be generous, you can be generous and you can donate to the Damien After Dark channel. In the description box below this video as well, I will put information for ways you can donate through things like PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle, as well as my Amazon wish list. I appreciate you guys so much, all of you that are so generous that support, even if you just like or subscribe. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart, okay? Last but not least, I want to hear from you. Join the conversation and let me know what you think about the Real Housewives of Atlanta possibly being rebooted and the entire cast being fired. Whoa, it's a lot, people. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on, and we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. So, word on the curve is the Real Housewives of Atlanta is getting the Real Housewives of New York treatment. If you didn't know, the Real Housewives of New York got a complete reboot after like, what, 13, 14 seasons? Their most recent season before this new one had a lot of controversy. It had a lot of racial issues. It had a lot of political issues. People were turned off by it. It didn't have the viewership and the demographic that they wanted, I guess. So instead of bringing new girls in and keeping some of the old girls, they just wiped the whole cast out and they brought in a whole new cast. The show is airing now. The season's almost over. Real Housewives of New York. Whole new cast. Some of the fans didn't like it. Some of the fans didn't mind it. Well, according to Love B. Scott, Atlanta is going to be getting the New York treatment. Now, one thing about, we talk about, I love to cite my sources here, just like when you cite your sources doing an English paper, I like to do it in my stories and give the people credit. And I've been sourcing B. Scott for years, okay? I've been following her blog for years. And one thing I can say about Love B. Scott is that they are normally accurate about 85 to 90% of the time. Now, there's that 10% gray area where there have been a few stories that might not have been 100% true or something could have happened and went right. But doesn't mean B. Scott's just making up lies. Just means that her sources were wrong. But most of the time, Love B. Scott is correct. And they released this article on August the 28th at 7:57 Pacific Standard Time. Exclusive. Real Housewives of Atlanta reboot is in the works. Production is demanding fresh new peaches after disastrous season. So a lot of fans are claiming that they didn't like the season. If you go online and you look at the RHOA hashtag on any social media platform, you can see what the fans are saying about the show. And a lot of fans really didn't care for this season. Now, the ratings did not reflect that. Did they have 3, 4, 2, 1 million viewers a week? No, not like they used to. They didn't even hit the million mark, but they did stay consistent. They consistently had 800,000 plus viewers every single episode, and that is not bad in today's climate. Now, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, that might have been bad. That might not have been great ratings. But now in today's climate where people aren't watching live TV and cable like they used to, people are streaming next day on Peacock. People are watching their Netflix, their Hulu, their Max, their Discovery Plus, all that stuff. Ratings aren't counted the same. So 800,000 viewers in today's climate, today's world is accepted compared to 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago when you needed 1 million, 2 million viewers to sustain a season, right? So the ratings haven't been horrible. They've been okay. You know, they've been all right. However, the response from the fans have not been, you know, like This season was kind of all over the place. There wasn't a lot going on. There wasn't a lot of personal story. You know, a lot of the girls didn't have real personal story. The only one that had something really going on in their storyline was Drew. And that was her marriage to Ralph that was falling apart, and trying to balance being a mother and an actress and a wife, and her husband not appreciating her acting career and thinking that she's just doing some, you know, some whatever. Drew was the only one that really had personal story, if we want to get real and talk about it, whether you're a Drew fan or not. So those few things are different combinations of what made for a lackluster season, according to a lot of the fans out there. What did you guys think of this season of the Real Housewives of Atlanta? I kind of agree with the fans with it being all over the place. There not being personal story going on. There wasn't really a lot of drama. I mean, there was some drama, yeah, but it was just kind of stupid. Seemed like manufactured petty shit they were arguing about, just trying to find something to argue about because they needed something to argue about. It's not the same. The last few seasons have actually sucked. So let's get into this article. All right. Again, this is according to Love B. Scott. Out with the old and in with the new. The Real Housewives of Atlanta is officially getting a complete makeover. Now, notice in that first sentence, they're not saying rumors are, sources are saying, they're saying, wait, let me read that again. Out with the old and in with the new. The Real Housewives of Atlanta is all but officially getting a complete makeover. All but officially. Does that mean they're not getting one? Or does that mean they are? Maybe they're saying they're all officially getting a complete makeover. Sources exclusively tell lovebscott.com that production made the call to recast the entire show at some point during the taping of the season 15 reunion. So they're saying that production was watching the reunion. They realized that this is not working, that there's nothing going on here. We need to do something. And that's not good, y'all. That's not good. I mean, that means that nobody up there on that stage, nobody on that stage's presence held enough power to keep this show going. You know, there's nobody up there to anchor the girls. There's nobody up there to keep the show alive. For instance, Nene was always been the anchor of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm not saying Nene has to come back to save the show, but I'm saying if you notice, just y'all hear me out for a second. Every one of these housewives shows, and typically every reality show, is gonna have that central figure, that one character that kind of, and sometimes it's two. You know, if you look at Potomac, you got Giselle and Karen. A lot of people say it's Giselle. I think Karen's the central piece, but I would honestly say both of them. You've always got that one or two people that can rally the troops. They're quote unquote the star of the show, if you want to say it. They tend to get the most airtime. They're one of the most loved or hated. They're typically either a villain or a hero. Lots of times they're a villain. You know what I'm saying? Housewives never had that. New Jersey, it's Teresa. Beverly Hills, it's Kyle. In Salt Lake City, it was Jen Shah, or Mary Cosby, if you want to call it. New York was Bethany at one point. Atlanta, Nene. Miami, Leah Black. Dallas, Leanne Locken. Y'all get what I'm saying? And I think that's the problem with this show. Like, there's just, everybody seems like a side character. There's not an anchor. There's not a protagonist and an antagonist. Y'all know, growing up in school, in literature, and you learned about that. A protagonist and an antagonist. A hero and a villain. There's not that in this show. Sheree can't anchor the girls. She can't hold them down. She can't lead the show. As much as I want her to, and I love Sheree, and she's always one of my favorites, and I don't want her to go anywhere. I don't look at her as a lead. I think Kenya could be a lead, but she's just not giving it this season. Candy can't be the lead. No, I don't care if she's been there 30 years. She can't be the lead because she's just like this all the time. So, like, you know. Now let's finish this article. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off in a little tangent, y'all. It says, a source close to production tells us that Bravo is beyond thrilled with the reception of the recently rebooted Real Housewives of New York. So they're fully on board with production's decision to recast the Real Housewives of Atlanta. The network is also very pleased with the upcoming seasons of The Real Housewives of Potomac and Married to Medicine. So, just as I was saying earlier in this video, how New York City got a reboot, this is saying that that the network, Bravo, is happy with the response they've gotten from the New York City reboot. So now they're really like, you know what? Let's do it with Atlanta. Let's do it. Now, I'm confused with them saying the network is also very pleased with the upcoming seasons of The Real Housewives of Potomac and Married to Medicine. What does that got to do with them rebooting Atlanta? Married to Medicine hasn't been rebooted. Y'all just added Phaedra Parks. Potomac hasn't been rebooted. So I just understand why that sentence was there. The network is also very pleased with the upcoming seasons of The Real Housewives of Potomac and Married to Medicine. Maybe their source, maybe B. Scott's source was just giving that T2, saying that they're happy with the next 2 seasons and they're going to be good. It says, casting for fresh new peaches is already underway. We're told that production has been quietly reaching out to managers and agents looking for new girls. There's no interest in bringing back any old faces either. Not Portia Guobadia nor Kim Zolciak. And you know Portia Guobadia is, of course, Portia Williams, once Portia Stewart. So they're saying they're already looking. And they're talking to managers and agents in Atlanta looking for, you know, rich, affluent women with these lifestyles. They don't want a Nene back. They don't want a Portia. They don't want a Kim. They don't care. They want a whole new cast, allegedly. And I'm not sure how I feel about this. We'll get into that in a second. Well, no, I'll go ahead and talk about it now. I'm not sure how I feel about them getting all new peaches. I don't think it's a good idea because here's my thing. Here's my thing. If y'all can't get it right with a couple girls, you know, say like when the next season comes around and they want to bring a new girl in or fire a girl and bring 2 new girls in or whatever, if y'all can't get that right, what makes you think you're going to get a cast of 6 or 7 new women? You're going to get that right. I'm just confused. Think about it. If they can't bring in 1 or 2 new girls into them, because my thing is, I don't know if it's necessarily the entire cast, even though we just talked about them not having an anchor. That's an easy solution. We fire 1 or 2 and we bring in 1 or 2 new good girls with strong, good personalities who are not afraid of conflict, who are not afraid to speak their mind, who are not afraid to get into the lion's den, who have these lifestyles, who have great are out there. The affluent lifestyles, all the things that y'all want as producers for these housewives, they're out there. How many fabulous women are in Atlanta that would be willing to be on TV and have this lifestyle? I guess y'all aren't looking at the right places. You got to find them. You got to find them. Not all these fabulous women go to luncheons and go to, charity events. You can't just find them through that. You got to dig deep. Some of these women are just stay-at-home moms. They don't get out and they're not in the social scene like that. Y'all got to bring them into the social scene. So to me, rebooting it is not the answer, but hey, they're going to do what they want to do. And I guess it's because I'm so close to these women, because Real Housewives of Atlanta was once my all-time favorite show, my favorite franchise. Now it's Salt Lake City and Miami that are my favorites. But Atlanta used to be my all-time favorite. I tuned in religiously each and every Sunday. And I just don't want to see my girls like Kenya and Sheree and Marlo gone right now. I think, and maybe even Candy, but I feel like Candy's had a good run and we've seen everything we can see. But I could also understand if they did bring Candy back. But I think and Drew, I guess, because Drew had the most story, but Sonya definitely needs to go. I think bringing on Sonya was a big mistake. She's very boring to me. I think she'd be a sweet girl in person. I think she'd be a beautiful, very kind, nice woman in person. It's no shade to her. It's nothing personal, y'all. She's just not great for television. And to be honest, if she didn't have her big family that lived with her, she would have never gotten cast. Nobody's gonna watch Sonya and Ross. They're just not. They're boring as shit as a couple. Now, beautiful couple. Ross is stunning. Sonya's a beautiful woman as well. Gorgeous couple. Gorgeous family, but not for TV. Your family got old after season 1. All the pop, 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 all that shit got old after season 1. Your first season, I mean. What else do you bring? What did Sonya bring this season? What was her storyline? Wanting to get pregnant? She got pregnant? Boring, lame. We've seen that. We've seen it 20 times. What else you got going on? Mommy Nation? We saw that last season. What else? What else? Get out. You're bringing nothing. You're bringing nothing. And not to mention that, she don't get in there. Sonya don't get in there. You can tell she's like, tries to play both sides. She's flip-floppy. She's scared. And if you notice, I knew that Sonya was, whether they rebooted it or not, I know for a fact, reboot or not, mark my words right now, people watching this video, Sonya will not be back next season, okay? I don't have any production sources. I don't have none of that. I've just got common sense and facts that I know from what Bravo bases their contract renewals on. So getting your contract renewed is going to base a lot on reunion performance. How you perform at the reunion. How are you engaging? What are you saying? Is the fans loving it? And one thing I noticed, if you watch the part 1 reunion trailer, Sonya Richards Ross is not in that trailer but one time. And that one time she's in it, she doesn't even say anything. They just have her making a face. Literally the only time we see Sonya is she goes, that's it. She doesn't say anything, and that tells me Sonya either didn't have much to say or what she had to say was just boring as shit and she contributed nothing to the reunion. And she's going to get her walking papers. Mark my words. She got 2 seasons in. She should be happy for that because I thought she should have got fired last season. And it's not to be harsh. It's just true. I watch this show from a totally different lens than a lot of you probably do. I watch it as a viewer. I watch it as from a producing standpoint. And that was a waste of a casting decision. Now, granted, the show was slowly in decline before Sonya joined. She just jumped on and helped it go down quicker. Now, let's finish this article. Now, this is what it says. I like this idea here. What they're about to say here, I like this idea, and I hope they stick with this idea. While production is looking for all new peaches, it is possible that 1 or 2 peaches might stick around as friends, similar to the revamped Real Housewives of Miami. It all depends on how casting goes. It's possible that Real Housewives of Atlanta could go on a brief hiatus to give them extra time to get the casting just right. So if you notice, they said that it's possible that 1 or 2 peaches may stick around as friends, similar to the revamped Real Housewives of Miami. If you're not familiar with the revamped Real Housewives of Miami, Real Housewives of Miami was canceled in 2011. 2014. It started in 2011. It canceled in 2014 at the end of season 3. They brought it back 2 years ago and brought it back and revamped it. And what they did is they brought like 3 of the women back and then 3 new women back. So that's what they're saying here they may do with Atlanta, that's what I feel like they should do. I don't think a reboot is needed. Keep Kenya. Keep Sheree. Keep Marlo. They got that history. You know what I'm saying? And then bring 3 new women in. Bring in a friend of Sheree's. Bring in a friend of Marlo's. And bring in a friend of Sheree's. Or who am I missing? Kenya's. You know? Do something like that. I think they should have done that with New York. With the revamp that they did with New York, I think they could have, you know, kept Luann and kept Sonya. And then brought in the rest of those girls that they just brought in. That way you're giving the old fans what they want, and you're giving, you know, or you're giving some fans what they want, and the other fans what they want. Everybody gets a little bit of what they want. And it says, as we've previously reported, Real Housewives of Atlanta has been notoriously difficult to cast, which is the only reason why a few current housewives have gotten peaches in the first place. Sonya, Richards-Ross, they're pretty much saying this show has been difficult to cast. It's hard to find women, and I guess I could see part of it because a lot of people don't, as I said earlier that there's a lot of fabulous women in Atlanta. Why is it hard for y'all to find people? Then on the flip side, I think about it, Atlanta has a lot of successful people who may not want to jeopardize their reputation, or who their wife might want to be on TV, but the husband don't want them to be on TV, or they've got a great career and their career would be in jeopardy if they did it, and they might lose their job. You know what I'm saying? So the production is saying this show has been difficult to cast, and that's the only reason we've got girls like Sonya, because it's all we can find. They're pretty much saying Sonya Richards-Ross is all we could get, and that's the only reason we casted her. I'd rather them not hire, like, I would have rather them kept 5 women. Y'all remember the season before Sonya came on, it was just 5 housewives. It was Candy, Portia, Cynthia, Kenya, and Sheree, I think, right? It was just those. I'd rather y'all keep 5 women than add on these lame-ass women that bring nothing. It says both Bravo and production are concerned with fan feedback that this has been the worst season of the show in a long time, if not ever. Production sources tell us that several of the later episodes were re-edited to try and make an entertaining show, not to show favoritism towards any one cast member. Y'all know, if y'all didn't know, a lot of the fans are also saying that production and the producers are favoring Marlo, and they're giving Kenya a bad edit because Kenya took to Twitter and said that, you know, if y'all watch the show, we know that Kenya's opening a salon. She built a salon, and they showed us like 1 or 2 scenes of Kenya of building her salon. And apparently she had a soft opening, and they filmed like the big grand opening, and Bravo didn't air that. And they're saying, but Marlo got all these scenes of, you know, these foster care events and her doing this and her doing that, and they feel like there's favoritism. But they're saying here that no, that wasn't what it was. They had to try to re-edit last minute and make an entertaining show. Do y'all believe that? As far as this being one of the worst seasons, I think I enjoyed this season a little bit more than I did last season. To me, the last season, which was Sonya's first season, was the worst season ever. I mean, these last 2 are definitely in the bottom 2. These last 2 seasons are in the bottom 2 for the worst seasons. And before that, I thought the Bolo season was the worst season, but then these 2 seasons after Bolo came along, and the Bolo season, you know, it's more entertaining than these past 2. And it says Kenya Moore has been very vocal about production allegedly cutting her storyline and editing her salon event out of the final episodes. But our sources say that the reason Kenya's event wasn't shown is because it was dry. Let me go back up. Shit. My computer's going slow. And you know what I think it is? I think it's because it's about to die. Give me just a second, y'all. My charger is like right here. And I I need to plug it up. And I'm in my underwear, so pay no attention if y'all see my ass. Okay, and we're charging. We're charging. We're back in business, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in my bleached underwear. So, damn, why are we getting... My computer is all over the place today. Let me reload this page real quick, y'all. It's like I'm scrolling down and it'll scroll back up on its own. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Is it my connection? I don't think so. Okay, so back to Kenya. Kenya has been upset and vocal about, like I just told y'all, her scenes getting cut. She opened Kenya Moore Hair Care Spa, Salon, whatever, and a lot of the scenes got cut, but they were saying that it wasn't shown because it was dry and nothing happened, even with nearly the entire cast in attendance. And I could see that being true working in reality TV. Before, there's been plenty of scenes that we film. Tons of scenes are filmed. Y'all got to think weekly, every week they might film 3 scenes a day. That's 15 scenes a week. One episode, actually more than that. Probably more than 15 scenes a week. And then they pick and choose what goes into the episode. And if there's no drama, if there's no interesting conversation going on, if there's no bombs dropped, if there's not something that was said to help keep the storyline going and flowing, they're not going to air it. It's waste. You know, they can't air every single thing. So I could see this being true. Kind of seems like, I don't want to say it's Kenya's ego at play here, but it is what it is. You sign a contract, Kenya, and you get paid big money. I wouldn't care how they did my storyline, as long as I wasn't edited to look a certain way, that I wasn't, you know. As long as my check's good, I give y'all the rights to create my story how you want to create it, as long as it's authentic and true to me. Somebody on Twitter, the Kempire, actually here on YouTube, he said on Twitter, Kenya has had it with RHOA production. And Kenya retweeted it and said, I'm hurt and simply being transparent. Well, you being hurt and transparent, Kenya, is going to get you axed, because when you talk about production, it does not go over well. When you're on TV, they do not want you pulling back the curtain. They are behind the scenes for a reason. They do not want to they do not want to be seen. They do not want to be heard. They do not want to be talked about. Only recently have they broke the fourth wall on these reality shows, where they'll show a cameraman or they'll show a producer. You know, before that, that was unheard of. They don't really do that kind of stuff because they want to keep the magic of the show. It's kind of like if you go see a play. You're not going to see everything behind the curtain, right? Jesus, my computer is like not... Okay, now, this is the end of the article, and we're going to wrap this video up. It says, as we've previously reported, Kenya's Real Housewives of Atlanta's salary is quite hefty, and Kandi Burruss is the highest paid housewife across all franchises. The network could get an entirely new cast. Oh my gosh, my computer is driving me nuts. The network could get an entirely new Real Housewives of Atlanta cast for less than what they pay either Kandi or Kenya. That is a great point, and that kind of makes me believe this article now, y'all. That is like the golden information of it all. Let's dig deep into this real quick. As we previously reported, Kenya's Real Housewives of Atlanta's salary is quite hefty, and Kandi Burruss is the highest paid housewife across all franchises. The network could get an entirely new Real Housewives of Atlanta cast for less than what they paid either Kandi or Kenya. That is so true. And at the end of the day, we got to think about it. What is Bravo? What is NBC? What is all that? It's a business. They don't care about these housewives' feelings. They don't care that you didn't get your spa shown in the latest season. And I'm not shading Kenya. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm just saying it's a dog-eat-dog world. It's an industry where they don't care. Feelings are not valued. You will be chewed up and spit out. I know from experience. This is behind the scenes and this is on in front of the camera. They don't care. It's a ruthless industry. And it's a business. And it'll be the same if you were at Walmart. Here's the thing. That makes sense. Kandi allegedly makes what? $2 million a season almost. We know Kenya is probably making close to $1 million. They could wipe these girls out and bring in new women. This is what the rest of the article says. To put it into perspective, both ladies are making around $100,000 per episode. The entire cast of the Real Housewives of New York reboot are making around that for their entire season. Is it clicking in y'all's head? No. Is the mathing? Is it making sense? Why wouldn't they wipe the whole cast out? Why wouldn't they fire Kenya, Sheree, Marlo, Drew, Sonya, and all of them? Kenya and Kandi are making $100,000 an episode when the Real Housewives of New York made $100,000 for the entire season. It says that's just one more reason as to why production and the network are down for rebooting the show. With rumblings of a new Real Housewives of Atlanta making the rounds, we wouldn't be surprised to see more of the ladies airing out their grievances on their way out the door. And this would make sense as to why Kenya's been kind of going off on production. Maybe she has a feeling. Maybe she knows that it's the end of the road and she's letting everything out. I mean, a lot of this stuff does make sense, y'all. Something in the milk ain't clean. When there's smoke, there's fire. A lot of people don't believe this B. Scott article, and there were some articles that came out later denying this, saying that the Bravo's rep came out and said this is not true. They haven't made any decisions yet. They don't make decisions until after the reunions aired. But I don't know if that's true or not. I think they're trying to save face and keep the girls calm until they're ready to tell them, until after the reunion and all that. I don't know if I believe Bravo. I think that they're going to end up scrapping Housewives of Atlanta. Because they've tried for the last 3 or 4 seasons to make things work. And it just seems like it's not really working. And this used to be their #1 show, bringing in millions, and it no longer is anymore. And I think they're trying to get it back to #1. So what do you guys think? I told y'all what my solution would be. I'm not here for the reboot. I would keep Kenya. I would keep Sheree. And I would keep Marlo. Or Kandi. I don't know. Either Marlo or Kandi. But I'd definitely keep Kenya and Sheree. And then I'd bring in some of their friends. I wouldn't wipe the whole cast out. What do you guys think? Would you reboot the show? Would you leave it the way it is? Or would you get rid of a few people and bring in some new people? Or what do you think about Bravo getting rid of, this whole cast and saving all this money? Do you agree that this is all just business? Or should they take the ladies' feelings into consideration? I want to hear from you guys on this story. It's been a hot topic. Make sure you join the conversation below and leave me your thoughts and opinions. Also, click the subscribe button right below this video and turn on your post notifications so you never miss a beat. Last but not least, support the channel if you don't mind. It's very easy to do and it's free. You don't always have to donate. People ask, do you have to donate? Absolutely not. It's free to support. Click the thumbs up button right below this video. That's your way of supporting. If you're feeling generous and you want to donate, I will put in the description box below ways that you can donate using PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle. Also, my Amazon wish list is in the description box below as well if you want to go that route. I appreciate all the tips, all the donations, the love, the support, the likes, the subscribes. Love you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. We'll see you next time on Damien After Dark. See ya.